Welcome to Three Count Commentaries. This is your boy MongoSlade. So, NXT, May 18th, 2021. Let's just jump right into this thing here. So, Toni Storm versus Zoe Stark. Now, there was a promo that was posted online before the show, or Toni Storm actually talked. And this was actually one of her better promos where she said that, Zoe Stark talks about living in the gym. But, push ups isn't going to help when my foot comes flying towards your face. And it's not a push-up competition. This is a wrestling match. So I was, okay with that. I thought that was pretty nice. Then we have this match, and this match was Zoe Stark is ill. She's one of the illest. You know what I'm saying? She did the springboard drop kick was pretty ill. Like I really like Zoe Stark. Oh God, here I go again. Zoe Stark. I do like Zoe Stark quite a bit. Our cheerlead Paul Goddess got her finish kicked out of, which was Storm Zero. I was, having a conniption at that point. But she did manage to win with some new flippity doo finish. Not a flip exactly. It was some type of thing that she obviously not going to be able to do on everybody. She needs a new finish. She needs another new finish. But at least she won. Toni Storm wins. I don't know where we go from here. Do we have the rubber match? Do we do Storm, Stark, best 2 out of 3 falls? I think they just did that with Kushida and Santos Escobar, so you can't do that. Maybe do like an Iron Woman match, 30 minutes, whatever. I know that'll probably tank everything, but hey, I mean, you can't just leave it 1-1, right? That's 50-50 booking. Somebody's got to go over. And I'm still pitching that Toni Storm needs to be on SmackDown or Raw or something. In any event, the lights went out and billboards and everything popped up for Frankie Monet, who will have her first match next week. It seems like they're just doing this thing where she's just like randomly popping up and she's not really like challenging one specific person. I think I would have preferred if they were building up a one match for her and that would be her debut instead of just saying she's going to debut next week. It's like, yeah, okay. But, like, wouldn't it have been better, like, when she debuted with somebody, and then that person be trying to goad her into a match, and then finally they get her into this match for her debut? That would have felt a lot better to me. But, that's not what we got here. Anyway, I still have no idea who Frankie Monet is going to wrestle. It'll probably be AQA, aka Zeta Ramir. But I'm interested in how Taya Valkyrie is going to look at her NXT debut. Legado del Fantasma, Raul Mendoza, and Joaquin Wilde basically says that Regal needs to hurry up and make this title match because it's been 2 or 3 weeks since they challenged MSK. Then Tommaso Ciampa showed up, said that, MSK never beat us. You guys also never beat us. So I think we should have a match to see who should wrestle for the tag team titles. And Legado del Fantasma agreed. Later, they had the match in which Tommaso Ciampa forced Raul Mendoza to almost drown in his own blood after a very fierce elbow to the face. And during the commercial, of course, they cleaned it up. And of course, they went the extra mile. While AEW is posting the bloody pictures of everybody all over the place, WWE is sending black and white pictures of Raul Mendoza's busted mouth. Or was it his busted nose? It was one of the two. And they're black and white in the picture so that people can't see it. The extremes, man. People are going to the extremes. It's okay. It's hard way blood. We'll be all right. He didn't get his head ripped off. Okay. We're okay here. I think we can show a little trickle of blood from his mouth. I mean, it was a lot of blood, but come on. Grizzly Young Veterans got involved, helped Legado del Fantasma win. Not thrilled with that because it was the third match straight in which there was a distraction and or interference. WWE relies far too much on distractions and interference. It is an absolute abomination that they can't book a wrestling show without disqualifications and without, it's a useful tactic to use disqualifications or to use distractions. But when you have 7 matches on the card, 3 of them end in distractions, it's like, no, that is ridiculous. That's a crutch. That is not a storytelling aspect. That is a crutch. That means you trying not to beat people when you really just be beating them. Okay, just beat them. Fuck. Come on. Help people get over. That's why nobody can get over here. You know? So Legado del Fantasma won, and William Regal later just said, hey, whoop, I guess those guys are the number one contenders. So let that go. 2 weeks. MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. I think that we're ending headed near the end of the road for LDF. All right, so Cameron Grimes showed up in a Bentley, I believe, or it's a Rolls Royce. I think it was a Rolls Royce, and he pitched his keys to somebody, told him to park it out front in his special parking space, only for him to find out that Ted DiBiase already got the parking space. So Jake Atlas laughed at him, of course, and then Cameron Grimes said, well, you think that's funny? You think that's funny? You don't think it's funny when I whoop your ass? So that was the match. The match was Jake Atlas versus Cameron Grimes. So as Cameron Grimes is coming out, he stopped everything and said, hey, I got footage of the real Ted DiBiase. And he pitched to the Trons, which showed a collage of Ted DiBiase getting beat up by Virgil and Hulk Hogan and Razor Ramon, and him being absolutely embarrassed and humiliated by people in the 80s and 90s. And Cameron Grimes is having a blast. He's laughing. He's laughing. Oh, he's laughing his ass off at this. So they have the match, Grimes and Atlas. The match goes of length. Atlas, of course, gets in a little bit of offense. He almost always gets in some offense. And then randomly in the middle of the match, of course, Ted DiBiase's theme song plays. He comes to he has like this really stretch limo that they showed earlier. But then he comes out, he laughs, ha 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 ha. Cameron Grimes is distracted. Of course he is. Gets rolled up, gets pinned. Cameron Grimes is distraught. He gets rolled up and pinned and loses in the match in a distraction. He chases down the limousine to Ted DiBiase, who basically says that he was still the $1 Million Man, and rolls up the windows on Cameron Grimes and drives off. So Grimes was left defeated and disappointed and upset, and Jake Atlas got a win that doesn't matter, apparently. Again, with the distractions. Again, with the distractions and the random music playing. I'll never get over that. Like, the music playing makes no sense. Run-ins, okay, that's wrestling. But why are you playing the music? Playing the theme song basically says that the company is okay with this, that they're, behind it. Like, you should only play theme song when somebody is supposed to be coming out. Otherwise, just let them come out. I don't get that. And I know that Ted is in a situation where he's obviously not about to take a bump. So, I mean, it is what it is. They're doing what's called the $1 Million Face-Off next week. I am so excited for that. That is going to be fun. I wonder how they're going to blow this thing off. It's been going on for about a month now with the vignettes and everything. This ought to be fun. I want to see where it goes, because I have no idea how you pay off a feud between a guy who can't wrestle because he's like 70 years old and a guy who's in the prime of his life. I don't see how you pay that off without Ted DiBiase introducing somebody new, which I think he probably should. Maybe he should introduce a new $1 Million champion, and he don't have to be there every week. He could just, give this guy maybe not the actual $1 Million title, but say that he has the future. He could be a future $1 Million champion or whatever, and just to give somebody a boost. And then you have somebody for Cameron Grimes to actually fight. I'm pretty sure there are some guys on 205 Live, I'm mentioning it again, I'm not ever going to give up on it, that have been there forever, who we could use. I don't know who. Kurt Stallion is probably, he's one of my favorite guys when I saw him in Evolve and everything. I don't see why he's not being used. I think he might be hurt. But, there's some other people. They've been talking about bringing in more cruiserweights and more women. Cameron Grimes can't wrestle a woman. So it has to be some type of main event male talent, or some lower tier male talent that can be elevated from working with Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase. I say go for it. So then we get The Way, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. They're having a spa day because they deserve it for winning the tag team titles. And Indy Hartwell was thanking Candice LeRae for being so right and thanking her for the spa day and saying that this was so sweet and it was so good and this was awesome. And she said, "You were so right about Dexter Lumis. He's such a creep. You know, he's a real weirdo. All he does is stand around and stare at me." And, you know, Candice LeRae was like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." They were wearing those mud masks with the cucumbers on the eyes or whatever. And they did. Obviously, Indy Hartwell was trash talking Dexter Lumis without knowing that Dexter Lumis was one of the masseuse. He was the masseuse. And he's overhearing how she's saying that he's weird and he's a loser and all this kind of stuff. So he gets real mad, real mad, and he walks off. And, you know, that was part one. Part two is after the spa day, they've got all the mud max and everything is off. Candice LeRae finds out that her credit card has been declined. And she blames it on Austin Theory, saying that he's been ordering pizza and all kind of other things with the credit card. Then the masseuse or the person, the cashier or whatever you want to call it, says that there was an unpaid debt to a florist. And, you know, she was like, "What? No, of course, that's not real. It's obviously, you know, it's Austin Theory." And then Indy Hartwell was like, "A florist?" And they was like, "Oh, yeah, 3 weeks ago." And, of course, Indy Hartwell puts it together super fast. And is not actually that mad. She says, okay, so she asks Candice, "Hey, did Shotzi and Ember get those flowers from Dexter Lumis or from you?" And Candice was like, no, I didn't do that. And obviously, Indy Hartwell catches on and is like, oh, she becomes so excited that Dexter Lumis still loves her. So she goes to run off. And it was pretty funny. Like, where she was like, "He still loves me." And she just, like, took off running. And that damn... Well, it was not funny, though. Candice LeRae without makeup. She still looks like the Wicked Witch. Looks less Wicked Witchy because the 10 pounds of makeup they put on her face makes her look really, really nuts. But she still looks like a Wicked Witch. Oh boy. But this was a roundabout way, of course, to reinstate Index, Indy and Dexter. Now it's going to be back to it. They've reset it. So now it's going to be back to Indy chasing Dexter. We had a little bit of Dexter chasing Indy, trying to get her attention and her being upset. Now we're going back with it with Indy now going to be chasing around Dexter Lumis. I don't know, man. this is top tier stupidity. But you know, it's the Garganos, man. What more can you do? So we did Prime Target, Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor. This was awesome. These Prime Targets are pretty awesome. Pat McAfee, Jimmy Smith, and Paul Heyman made appearances. Essentially, the story is that Balor didn't underestimate Kross, and that he only stays down when he's dead. So he's coming back for Kross, and Kross's whole thing is, you know, kill or be killed. There's no respect. You know, he did it once, he's gonna do it again. And that's pretty much it, man. You know, and this ought to be huge. This match needs to really hit. This match needs to hit. They need to leave some time too. Like this week's main event, they started it at 9:45, maybe. Maybe they need to start Kross and Balor at 9:30. Or maybe 9:45. Maybe the match doesn't need to be that long. Maybe it doesn't need to be 30 minutes plus commercials. So maybe I was exaggerating. Maybe it don't need to be that long. So we get Bronson Reed. Let's talk about Bronson Reed. So Bronson Reed cuts a promo about, you know, he had his first match in 2007. And it's been 14 years, and this is the biggest match of his life. He's been all over the world and, you know, on different continents and everything. And says that Johnny Gargano will not deny his destiny. And that he's going to win the match, then go home to his wife or go to his wife and say, after 14 years, babe, we made it. We made it, babe. We did it. Johnny Gargano cut a promo later calling himself untouchable and said that Reed isn't on his level. And then those two went out there and had a banger of a cage match. Now there was a little bit there was some things to nitpick and some things to talk about. Obviously, clearly there was a lot of interference, but they're heels, right? I would think, and I've been, and Johnny Gargano's an undersized heel, so that's double the reason why interference is kind of expected. But there was still some things in this match that doesn't make much sense to me. Like, this guy is small. He gets powerbombed from the top rope. What is he doing even continuing to have offense after that? He also did a poison Rana. And I think I flipped my lid before when it came to like some really small guys being able to do Hurricane Ranas on giants. It makes no earthly sense why you would, if you're 400 pounds, that this guy can turn you over with his legs. It's just not reasonable. It just makes no sense. But there was a lot of really cool spots in this match. Gargano's moonsault off the side of the cage, the springboard DDT that Johnny Gargano did, the sunset powerbomb that Johnny Gargano pulled off. All of those moves were awesome. Austin Theory picked his spots. He wasn't, he was all over the match, but he didn't feel like he was that involved. I think that since we've gotten rid of blood and replaced it with spots, these cage matches have gotten real weak. Like I just said, man, like you got poison Ranas and stuff. Like, you got guys getting powerbombed from the top rope and they're okay, like a minute and a half later. Like that, I don't see why that's not a finish. You should be able to do the old school, beat a guy down, rake his face on the cage, slam him against the cage, that kind of stuff without, needing to do high risk top rope shit. So Bronson Reed wins with a top rope splash or off the cage splash. I forget which one. I know it wasn't off the top of the cage. That would have been dangerous. But he wins. So that was the right decision. Johnny Gargano had to lose the title. So now the Way only has, Hartwell and LeRae as champions. Okay, cool. Johnny didn't need the belt anyway. I'm guessing Johnny is going to end up wrestling Cross. That's my guess. My guess is Johnny's going to end up wrestling Cross. And from the promo earlier that night, we're probably going to have, I think we've got Bronson Reed's first opponent set up too. So that ought to be interesting. We'll talk about that in a moment. Pete Dunne had a promo where he basically talked about, the titles of champions and his inspirations and everything. This was absolute drywall. I mean, Jesus Christ, drywall, mate. Pete Dunne just has negative personality. He just, I don't see a lick of charisma in the guy. He's really good. He's a bruiser, good guy, but personality, none. Not nada. If you took like a credit card and slid it across his forehead or something like that, it is a declined. He just got nothing. There's nothing. But the bank is empty. The bank is empty. This is ridiculous. But he basically talked about all the different champions and everything, and how he has unfinished business with Walter because he owns NXT UK, but he's also already conquered NXT UK, so he could always go back and fight Walter if he wanted to, but he doesn't really want to. He's already beaten Kushida, so that title's just up whenever he wants to take it. He's still chasing Cross, saying that's the reason he came to this country. So, and basically he's just like, oh, well, I make people different. I make people different. You leave the match different. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure that's the case. So later, Bob Fish, Uncle Bobby Fish, says that he was out for weeks, months, due to tricep surgery because of Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan. And he's going to get those boys. And he told Pete Dunne, show up next week because he got something for him. He's going to make him pay. And I was like, all right, cool. Now we know what Bobby Fish is doing. We got it. We got it set. Got a goal. And now we get to see what Uncle Bob is going to do. And the clock is still ticking before he gets hurt. The clock is still ticking. I'm almost certain it is inevitable that, upon 2 matches or something like that, Bob Fish is gonna get hurt. I don't wish it. I don't will it to happen. I don't want it to happen. That's just the pattern of what's been happening. Bob Fish has a run where he has like 2 or 3 matches, and then he's gone for 4 months. It's just been happening so much. His entire NXT run, I think, like probably about 40% of his NXT run has been him probably in rehab. I don't know how old he is, but we might need to be transitioning him to a trainer, because I heard he's pretty old. Anyway, match 3, Alexander Wolf versus Killian Dane. This match was actually pretty short, and yet another distraction. Marcel Barthel used a chair. He slid him the chair because he wants to make Killian Dane pay. So Wolf decides to use the chair and instead gets running cross body blocked. That's Dane's finish, I guess. He's a heavy guy. I mean, he's about 300 some odd pounds. I guess if that guy kind of jumped on you, it would be, it would probably knock the air out of you. But, it's weird because Wolf is bigger than Gargano. No, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, Dane wins with a running crossbody block while Alexander Wolf was trying to hit him with a chair. After the match, Barthel and Eichner beat up Alexander Wolf. Stomped him, did the Imperium powerbomb on him. They have broken up Imperium. Or at least they've kicked out Alexander Wolf. All of these many months of me yelling about them breaking up fucking Breezango, they have not done it. They decided to break up Imperium instead. What the fuck, Sean? Hunter? Road Dog? What the fuck are... I cannot believe you 3, out of one of you 3, couldn't get it together. Now, look, I know Road Dogg and Sean. I know their problem. This doesn't involve cocaine. So I know that, they aren't that engaged. But Triple H, for fuck's sake, you cannot be serious. Breaking up Imperium, but keeping fucking Breezango. Nada. I will not stand for this. I won't stand for it. And it's the Hurt Business all over again. There's no reason to break up Imperium. There's absolutely no reason. Now, are they going to immediately replace Alexander Wolf with somebody else? That might be okay. Now, if they wanted to kick Wolf out because, something's going on, maybe he's got an injury, or maybe he's retiring or something like that, okay. But Alexander Wolf in the United States is just not working. It's the second time. He came to the United States before. He was working on SmackDown as part of Sanity. It didn't work out. It was the shits because WWE didn't give a fuck about Sanity. Now, the moment they come to NXT, nobody gives a fuck about Imperium. That is wrong. That is wrong. This was a great squad that they had here. And they all had individual roles. They all had a purpose. Now, I can tell from the storyline that Barthel wanted Wolf to play his role. That Wolf's role is the hatchet man. He's the killer of the group. But he's got a soft spot for Killian Dane. That's his buddy. They used to be in Sanity together. I get it. I know why they did it. It makes perfect sense that they did it. But for fuck's sake, at least break up Breezango too. Look, that's my benchmark, dog. I don't care what Imperium, I like Imperium. They shouldn't be broken up. Sure. But I hate Breezango. I hate them. I want them gone away. I want them gone. And we just can't get it. Just can't get it to happen. Can't give me that one blessing. Maybe I need to send them boys down to the Performance Center. With some in that. No, I'm not going to do that. I want them guys to be okay. All right, so Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, they disagreed about how to handle the Mercedes Martinez situation. Raquel Gonzalez wants to be a babyface. She wants to be nice. She wants to show respect. Dakota Kai is like, nope, she disrespected me. I want to kick her in the face. But we agreed to disagree. on how to handle that situation. Dakota Kai wants to be a tag team again and wants to win the tag team titles, and Raquel Gonzalez is like, sure, whatever. I'm cool with that. So then Everrise come in talking very fast, sipping, I'm guessing, coffee out of mugs. And they said that Raquel Gonzalez was being greedy. She already got a title. Why she need another one? And they ended up getting smacked by Raquel Gonzalez because they said something or other. But this has already gone too long. I mean, Everrise are barely a part of the roster. I'm not going to spend too much time on those guys. Plus, there's no benefit to it because there's no end to it. So we got also Aaliyah versus Saray. Saray is really good. She's really good. Aaliyah got a lot of offense in. I don't quite understand why. Not quite understanding why she got so much offense. And Robert Stone. Robert Stone was dressed like Prince. He was. Why they don't do more with him, I have no idea. There's so many people who could benefit from the whole Robert Stone brand thing. And I'm really wondering, what is it, like, who got something, does somebody got something against him? Because not only is he like the leader of like a stable, he doesn't talk either. He's like a wheeling, dealing, car salesman kind of guy. He could be really fun. Kind of what they started doing. And then everybody started talking about how he looked like Tony. So then they kind of decided to shove a tank up his ass. And then it hasn't been the same since. Like since they started doing they're doing a Tony Khan gimmick. It's like he was never meant to be Tony Khan. And I believe he was doing that before AEW was. I'm not in NXT, but he was doing it on the Indies. I think he was doing Robert Stone. But in any event, he could be a fun character. He just looks ridiculous, and there's so many people on the roster that it would be nice for you to just be able to have him all over not all over the show, like Jimmy Hart or anything like that, but just be present, be able to talk for people who can't talk, or and stuff like that. It just makes it better. We need to use some managers. What happened to the little bald black dude who looked like a Oompa from Super Mario Brothers? Whatever happened to him? Where did he go? I know they broke up in this share. I heard about that because that one guy is now hanging out with Jinder Mahal, and I don't know where the other one is. So they're just NXT is not giving tag teams a chance or managers. NXT is supposed to be different from the main roster. It ends up being exactly the fucking same. The distraction role, the fucking no managers, matches ending in bullshit. It's just frustrating. Anyway, Aaliyah versus Saray was fine. Saray is really good. And Robert Stone was dressed like a pimp. All right, so fine. Shotzi and Ember Moon. I am going to say the best thing about this promo was Shotzi's thigh tattoo. Got a thing for thigh. I love them. Shotzi is kind of hot, but they so cringe, man. They're like super cringe. Jesus, like they're cringy as hell. I'm talking like painfully cringe. But basically, they're going to be fighting Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai next week, and I believe it's the number one contender for the women's tag team titles. But so they're probably guaranteed to win that match. But at the same time, they're so cringe, dog, that I don't I don't know what to do. They cringe as hell. All right, so let's talk about this final thing here on NXT, which was Hit Row. Ashanti Adonis and Top Dollar defeating Tony Nese and Arya Daivari. Good decision. They brought in Tony Nese and Arya Daivari, 205 Live mainstays, as a random tag team for these guys to wrestle. Tony Nese is like the Lex Luger of small guys. Why he doesn't get a look, I don't know. Like, I know he doesn't have much in the way of personality, but this brings me right back to what I was talking about Robert Stone. Like, imagine if a guy who looked like Tony Nese, the guy is shredded, right? And he's been shredded the whole time. And he's standing like they're flexing while Robert Stone is putting him over. Or he's in a suit or something. Robert Stone is putting him over. Like, that would be excellent. That would be fantastic shit. Why they won't do it, I don't know. Probably because it doesn't involve cocaine. In any event, Top Dollar is basically a showcase for him. You know, he got to do some cool stuff like slamming both of these guys at the same time. He even got the pin with the fireman's neck breaker. And then after the match, they cut a little rap, which I'm sick to death of rapping and singing and everything. We already know that. But Swerve essentially challenged the winner of the cage match, which we now know is Bronson Reed. So now we're going to have to double back to Bronson Reed and Swerve. Now, I'm not thrilled about that idea because Bronson Reed just won the title. So that means Swerve can't win it, you know. Because what would be the purpose of putting the belt on I guess you could call Bronson Reed a Giant, and then taking it off of him like within a month or two, having him lose it to his first real opponent? I don't really see the purpose of that. It would really help Swerve, sure, but what about Bronson Reed? Unless he's going up to the main roster, I don't really see how that benefits him. But I'm all in. I love the theme song too. The theme song is dope. It's very melodic and it's catchy. And I found myself like in the kitchen making lentil soup with that in my head. So that was cool. And you know, I don't mind it. You know, it was a pretty cool situation we had here with Hit Row. And as long as they take it slow, we ought to be fine. They'd be great opponents for MSK because MSK are two smaller guys who have absolutely zero personality, by the way. And they need to change that because that they come up with Hit Row seems to be pretty popular. You know, people seem to Hit Row. It's going to be a problem. MSK going to get booed again. Like they got booed last time. But, whatever. Anyway, that's NXT. Two very solid matches. Far too many distraction roll-ups. Fun stuff with Ted DiBiase and Cameron Grimes. Very interesting angles we got going on here. I'm wondering where the hell Xia Li is. Is she injured? Is she dead? They played another Diamond Mine promo, but since people have said it's not Blanchard, then they lost interest. But I want to see what's going on, you know. But let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe. If you want to help, then you can send money. That would be cool. And I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.